Ninja Turtles!
Jiro here for Umbra Games with a review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan, played on PlayStation 4, but also available on PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and Xbox One. Ninja Turtles are a well-loved artifact from my past, but they've gone through several mutations throughout the years, eventually falling into Nickelodeon's hands years ago. His latest incarnation was published by Activision and developed by the Bayonetta, DMC, and Metal Gear Revengeance over-the-top action-adventure developer Platinum Games. As such, one would expect some over-the-top action and adventure, but all is fairly street-level in Mutants in Manhattan. Krang and Shredder attempt to conquer the world via interdimensional portal, so the Turtles go from locale to locale fighting bosses to uncover the methods and location of their nefarious plan. The entire game can be played cooperatively with friends, or you can jump in solo. To start a game, you choose from a list of 10 levels named by the boss you'll find within, choose your difficulty, your turtle, Leonardo, Raphael, Michelangelo, or Donatello, your loadout, and then jump in. All stages appear to be open from the start, so you could probably do them in any order you wanted. You'll usually get a small cutscene before and after that provides information on where the Turtles would chronologically go next. The levels themselves are comprised of various seemingly random tasks in order to eventually reveal the boss. For example, you may have an objective to just take out all enemies in an area, or go and find little hideouts to take enemies out inside of them, or find and carry bombs to a portal, sneak up on guys, whatever, etc. You do seem to revisit some maps through the 10 levels, and with the events being random, you'll find all the gameplay kind of starting to blur together in sameness. The game does feature a fully rotational 3D camera with fairly open maps. You can identify targets while using the turtle glass, which gives you an infrared-looking targeting camera to find important things in your environment. While in the cityscapes, the Turtles can climb walls like Spider-Man and parachute down to aid in quicker movement, sometimes providing a ninja feeling for once in a Turtles game. At least the ones I've played. Whether you go at a stage solo or with 2 to 4 friends, all 4 Turtles will be present, with AI controlling the ones you don't. Each Ninja Turtle uses their signature weapon in combat, Leo with katanas, Raph with sais, Mike with nunchucks, and Don with his bow staff, as it's always been for decades. You have a quick attack and a strong one, and combos from various inputs. You can throw shuriken and even zoom in a little bit to aim. You can do a sort of guard move by retreating quickly to your shell, and if timed right you can perform a counterattack, but it definitely takes some practice to pull off. Each turtle can also equip 4 different ninjutsu at a time, from a list of 20 or so, and it looked like one unique one for each character. The ninjutsu have a cooldown timer requiring time between uses, which can be shortened, as well as the power increased by investing points after each stage with the appropriate combination of player level. I played Don most of the time, and his was a pizza party move, which was a small group heal. White Gravy played Mike mostly, and he had a cheerleader move which reset every ninjutsu cooldown for the entire team. Other than that, it's mostly different spin moves or combo attacks, one in particular where, when launched, other Turtles can jump in for a co-op, more powerful move. With the 20 moves available to all Turtles, the 4 just feel too interchangeable. Overall though, it just felt like the regular weapon attacks were really weak. Boss battles often felt like running around and defending until your ninjutsu was ready, and then unleash it, and then rinse and repeat. With bosses having 7 life bars to take down, the ordeal stretched into monotony. Even the rock soldiers later in the game get tiresome, with their rocket launching ones being able to often take you down with one direct hit, and the bigger variety taking dozens of seconds to take down. If a turtle loses all of his pizza slice health, you have a few seconds to revive him. If that time passes, he drops down below the streets, where you munch on a stack of hot pizza by repeatedly tapping the X button, but not too quickly, to fill up his life and rejoin his brothers. Now, I'm willing to accept the fact that we probably weren't very good at the game, as it may be designed to have you block and parry more often than we did, and White Gravy and my last Turtle experience was probably somewhere around Turtles in Time on Super Nintendo, which I think in my heart of hearts was really hoping for a 3D format of that with Mutants in Manhattan. To sum it all up in a word though, combat just feels sloppy. Dodging briefly and button mashing usually prevailed, and with 4 Turtles on the screen at a time with several enemies, it just becomes a mess. But yeah, there are also items you can buy, making a trip to the lair in each stage and spending battle points to Master Splinter to buy drinks that power up your speed, or turrets that you can drop temporarily to do damage, and you may as well, because the battle points you gain from killing enemies and gathering the green gems scattered throughout the map don't transfer from level to level. The turrets were pretty good at taking down close to one of the boss's 7 life bars, so we'd take them into most fights with us. You can also obtain trinkets occasionally through gem collection, and as a reward for finishing a stage. In normal difficulty, you can equip 1 trinket, 2 in hard, and so on. These items grant buffs and abilities like freezing strikes or exploding shurikens. The percentages and impacts are pretty low initially, and unless you focus on upgrading them through enemies' drops, only granted upon stage completion and randomly at that, you're probably not going to notice much of a difference. Now, at this point, I feel like my love for the Turtles is just through the eyes of nostalgia. Every piece of media I've consumed since the 80s cartoon has just always felt like it didn't hit what the original cartoon was to me. But upon re-examination, I bet that series probably isn't as good to me now as it was when I was 8 years old. Mutants in Manhattan has generic dialogue. The only parts standing out are ones that make you cringe, has a pretty uninteresting story, and voice acting that just comes off corny. Now, I suppose I'm probably not really the target market here anymore, but I feel like a lot of other franchises from my youth grew up with us, to where we could tap at least a little enjoyment, but it's not really found here. Or either that or I've just glorified the memories, distorting them as I grow older. I did recognize most of the bosses, and even have their action figures sitting in a box in a closet somewhere, so it did evoke some positive feelings. Actually a pretty big fan of the art style as well, giving it a nearly perfect comic book look. The boss designs were well done, and the animations are pretty solid. It took us about 6 hours to clear out the game's content on normal. You can obtain rankings for your time spent and damage taken, which could encourage some replay if you enjoy the combat. You can still find random people online to join up and play with, as I forgot to set it to private match one time and a level 93 player joined our room. I think we topped out somewhere around level 18. There are also several difficulty levels if you want a challenge, and further deepening the replay value for some. Overall, the weak normal attacks mixed with the otherwise chaotic combat, repetitive levels, lack of turtle uniqueness, uninteresting plot, lack of character depth, isn't really enough to win over bits of nostalgia and a cool art style. Rated as an action beat-em-up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutants in Manhattan hits a 43 out of 100 on a true 1 to 100 scale, with 50 being average. This is Jiro for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button to receive notifications of future videos, or always feel free to hit me up or follow me on Twitter @Umbra Games.